Okay, so once you come around your chain and you've worked all of the single crochets in each loop of the chain, you'll come back around to this funny looking part. And here's the last single crochet we just worked into the chain, and you can see there's one more chain left unworked, and then we've got this big googly mess. I like to tell my class that's what that is. But right up here we have our stitches that we just made, and they look like pretty little V's going up here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming up there, if you can see all of those. And each stitch has a front loop to it and a back loop. If a pattern doesn't say, you are supposed to put your, if it doesn't indicate otherwise, you're supposed to put your hook under both loops. But if it says back loop, this is the back loop. If it says front loop, that's the front loop. So you would just put your hook in one of those. Otherwise, you'd put it in both. And so that's what it would look like when you put your hook in. But before we hop over to here, we just want to make sure that all of this is straight. Sometimes there might be a weird twist in it as you worked or whatever. You just want to make sure it's all straight. So you'll see those, like the twisted bottom of the chain is down here. And then your stitches are up on the top. And it should look like that all the way around. There should be no twist in it. And if there is, you can kind of stick the twist in there and let that just be twisted here, because this is where you want it to be straight. One more time, you want to check and make sure. Anytime you're working in a pattern that's a tube, once you're done working in the chain, you just want to make sure it's straight again. So if it's straight, then you can just go ahead and work one more single crochet in that last chain. And then you're going to skip all of this stuff that looks like knotted. That's where we connected everything. And you're going to hop up here, and we'll just work in the back loop of the stitch. And that's the first single crochet you made, is where we're working right now. And now your work is connected in a spiral. Usually when I'm teaching a class or designing with beginners in mind, I will design something in a spiral, because you just get to say what Dory says in Finding Nemo. You just keep swimming. You just keep going round and round. You don't have to worry about connecting rows, about turning your rows, any of that. You just keep moving on to the next stitch. So it looks exactly the same way when you were working in your chain and we did the stitch. Now we're just going to do the same stitch, but up here, just in the back loop of the stitch. So the same thing, you go into the stitch, you wrap around, pull the loop through the stitch, wrap around again, and then pull through both. Once you have one loop on your hook, that means your stitch is done, and you can move on to the next one. So here's where we just worked, and the next one is right here. See why I love big bulky yarn? I can actually show you the giant loops of these stitches. So we were just here. You can see the stitch here went into this hole. You're going to move on to the next one and do your single crochet. And you just keep working around the whole thing. And when you get back to here, you're already attached in a spiral, and you're just going to keep working around in a circle. This would be a very tiny cowl. I just did it small because it's easier to show you on the screen all at once, but that's what it looks like.